said it came down to timing with taking this job, among other things. Now, you were hired on April 4th. Your former assistant at Stanford, Trent Johnson, he left for LSU on April 10th. So very close. So had he left 7 days earlier, would it have persuaded you to at all be at Stanford, or was Cal, you just knew the place you had to be next?
That's not a question that needs to be answered. That's all speculation. So the Lakers would have opened in between the two. Would have I done that? Who knows?
All right, well, January 17th will be another big date that might be circled on your calendar. Do you know what that is?
I think I have a dinner date with my wife that night. Is that what that date is?
No, actually, you can take her out to dinner after your team heads over to Stanford for the first time this season.
Well, that's one of 18 Pac-10 games that we have, and we'll approach that with the same effort to try to win.
But they do tend to poke fun at each other at times. So for diehard fans who associated you with Stanford and now you're at Cal, was it hard for you to make that adjustment at all? Or what do you think you want to show those players, you know, that had the loyalty at Stanford? Now how do you show them you have the loyalty here at Cal?
I coached the kids at Stanford, and the game is about the kids. So what I did was I tried to do my job the best I could, and I was coaching kids to try to help make them successful, and I think we did that. And you know, I don't know how to describe it. Your job is to coach basketball kids in the situation that they're in, and that's what we did there, and that's what we're going to do here. So there's no, I went to Long Beach State. You know, are they mad at me because I'm not coaching there? I don't know. My kids one went to USC, one went to Loyola Marymount. So there's a lot of different things. My allegiance is to these kids and the kids that you're coaching, because it's college basketball. It's kids playing college basketball. It's a game. Now, granted, there's a lot more involved. There's a lot of money involved in this sport right now. So, but when it all comes down to it, is kids competing against one another in college athletics. To have two schools the caliber of Stanford and Cal in the same area is really pretty phenomenal if you think about it. I don't think people really appreciate that sometimes. It becomes such a rivalry that people wanted to try to poke fun at each other. But to have two institutions like this, one public, one private, is pretty amazing.
All right, well, looking back on your head coaching position and the job you've done, you've been the head man, Montana and Stanford, and 25 of the 26 seasons you were leading the team, you were a winning coach. Pac-10 Coach of the Year 4 times, National Coach of the Year once. You took Stanford to their second ever Final Four in '98. When you look back, I know other people are so impressed. I know your players are impressed. What stands out most about your career so far?
You know, if you go all the way back, all you ever really wanted was a chance to coach at the Division I level, or really coach in college. Most of us just said, God, if I could just get a job, and you know, then you win a couple or you lose a couple, and all the things you go through, and to be able to just stay in one place. You know, one of my goals was to get out on my own terms, which I did at Stanford. Obviously didn't work the next level, but so that was always been one of my goals.
In your collegiate coaching career, what were some of the hardest times you did face that you overcame that can help you as you go on in life and then out on the court with this squad?
Well, we're kind of getting toward the fourth quarter of life, I think, a little bit, you know, or at least in the second half. You know, the one losing season you had probably was the biggest teacher I ever had, from the standpoint of originally your ego becomes involved. You're mad at the kids, you're mad at anything you can be mad at because you can't win. And then you start to realize that, hey, these kids are trying as hard as they can. They're great kids, and you change your thought process about some things because you recognize, one, how fortunate you were to have won, and that just little things like an injury or a loose ball or a missed shot or any number of different things can make the difference between winning and losing. So it really, you tend to maybe take yourself a little less seriously. You realize maybe you're not as big a deal as you might have thought you were. And you certainly have a lot greater respect for all the coaches out there that are battling to try to be in a position that maybe you have been in once or twice before. So probably that losing season was the best thing. For the last any number of years, I've always kind of said it's about the kids. It really is about the kids. It's their experience, and you try to make it as positive as you possibly can.
And many of your players have found success at the next level, whether it be in the NBA or in their personal careers. Do you keep in touch with any of them?
Yeah, I do. Not all the time. I've never having the kids at Stanford for the last 18 years, those are kids that are pretty capable of taking care of themselves, and they always manage to do that. So it wasn't like they needed me too much to get through what they were needing to get through, because they could manage things, and that was good, and they still do that. But I feel very close with them without having to talk to them all the time. When I took this job, I talked to a couple of them about, well, what do you think? How big of a deal is it? And they said, Coach, hey, go for it, So a lot of great kids I've had the opportunity to work with, and that's probably been the highlight of the whole thing.